Hello and welcome to the channel. I don't really know where to start with this. I've recorded this video a few times actually. Time magazine has declared superheroes problematic because they star straight white men. Yep, that's the one. Hilarious. I mean, what? How? I always think, like, what the people who write these things, do they not know that they, like, these characters have gained popularity because straight white men are the majority, so they buy them the most, so it's popular, so you cater to the majority, like you cater to the money. That's how business works. And they're not all straight white men either. I think, like, isn't the new Hulk, isn't he Asian? And isn't he gay, I think? But they're not, then inevitably they're never going to be as popular as the straight white ones or the straight black ones, because that's the majority. And the majority will be looking at what they can engage with, and you like liken things, right? You like what is, like you. If you've ever done any sales training, right? If you've ever done any sales training, any personality type training and stuff like that, they will always say you must, you basically become a reflection of who you're trying to sell to. Why? Because people buy into individuals that they can relate to. It's the same with this. Do they not realise this? The majority, straight white men and straight black men. That's the majority of comic book readers anyway. So they're going to be the most popular. That doesn't make it right or wrong. That's just business. They have other characters. They are bought, but they're just not as popular. Because again, like I say, people like what is like them. They relate to it more. There's nothing right or wrong with that. It just is. But apparently not according to Time magazine. Oh dear. Get ready for everything to get changed now. You could just... it's an exaggeration, but can you imagine this is probably where it's going to go? It's baffling, right? So, Time magazine and self-described feminist writer Ileana, I think, Dr. Man, recently wrote an article declaring that superheroes are a problem, specifically taking issue with a number of superheroes' gender, race, and sexuality. If Dr. Man's name sounds familiar, it's because she was part of a chorus of voices that attacked Marvel Comics for publishing Milo Manara's Spider-Woman variant cover back in 2014. What's wrong with that? Brilliant. Who cares? What's the big deal? Well, I would actually say it's not actually that good a piece of art. I'd say it's like, I don't know, college grade. It's fine. I've seen better. But I don't really see what... oh my god, no, sexualizing Spider-Woman. Oh no, like, fucking get real. In our article titled, "We're re-examining how we portray cops on screen. Now it's time to talk about superheroes." Of course it is! It always amazes me when people are like, don't talk about the slippery slope argument because it's not true. You fucking what? You what? Just look around. Just look around. She declares that superheroes are a problem because they are cops with capes. Of course! Listen, what about Punisher? Punisher's not a cop with capes, is he? I mean, he's a vigilante. Goes against them. Dr. Man begins her article implying that there is something wrong with police officers and notes the knee-jerk reaction in Hollywood to violent Black Lives Matter rioters and looters who are demanding police forces across the country be defunded and dismantled. Don't dismantle police forces. That's fucking stupid. As evidenced by all the crime waves that have occurred in the locations where all these morons were running. Please, can the adults just talk? Can the adults just get control of the children? I'm getting sick of it. Fuck. She cites that Hollywood has canned Cop and Live PD and that shows like Law and Order, SVU, and Paw Patrol have also come under fire. Of course! After spending the first 2 paragraphs of her article demonising police, Dr. Mann... It's amazing, isn't it? You spend so long, saying, don't generalise. Not everyone's the same. But then they just do that with police. Please. And then she makes a comparison to superheroes. Of course. Of course! She writes, but as we engage in this long overdue conversation about law enforcement, it's high time we also talk about the most popular characters in film, the ones who decide the parameters of justice and often enact them with violence. Superheroes. Because we can't have Superman anymore. He's too straight, he's too white. What we're going to do, we're going to change Superman so he's, I don't know, bloody doing some super dong crap. Who the fuck knows? Who cares? She goes on to cite that the issues she has superheroes, basically the issues she has with superheroes are, with a few notable exceptions, more on those later, most superhero stories star straight white men who either function as an extension of a broken US justice system or as vigilantes without any checks on their powers. Wasn't that what everyone's just been calling for, dismantling the police? Yeah, we just look after ourselves, yeah. Alright then. Usually they have some sort of tentative relationship with the government. The Avengers work for the secret agency S.H.I.E.L.D. Batman takes orders from Gotham Police Commissioner Gordon. No, he doesn't. What? He's literally a vigilante, you utter bellend. Even the villainous members of the Suicide Squad execute government orders in exchange for commuted prison sentences or their heads not being blown off. Like, at least know what you're talking about. As an aside, the Avengers might have initially operated on S.H.I.E.L.D., the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they no longer do after the events of Captain America Winter Soldier, which exposed that Hydra had infiltrated and corrupted the government agency. And it goes further, right? So the only example Dr. Mann gets correct is the Suicide Squad, which is typically run by Amanda Waller, who heads the fictional government organisation of Argus and Checkmate. Despite her factual errors, Dr. Mann continues to cite her grievances with superheroes. Of course she does, because she knows best. And even when superheroes function outside the justice system, they're sometimes idolised by police because they are able to skirt the law to get the job done. She then takes issue with military and police officers who use superhero symbols like the Punisher. Of course. Of course. In fact, real-life police officers sometimes adopt the symbolism of these rogue anti-heroes, the Punisher, a brutal vigilante introduced in a 1974 Spider... This is the thing. You're even acknowledging when they were made. Like, goddamn. Like, come on. They're a product of their time, but they remain popular because that's the majority. Anyway, who also starred in a 2017 Netflix series, has become an emblem for some cops and soldiers to the point where Marvel felt the need to address this idolatry in the pages of its comics. And this is how they addressed it. I'll say this once, we're not the same. You took an oath to uphold the law. You help people. I gave all that up a long time ago. You don't do what I do. Nobody does. That's the thing, yeah. He's literally a vigilante. Unreal. And it continues, right? So Dr. Mann makes no mention that Black Lives Matter supporters are also using the Punisher symbol. Hilarious. Because it doesn't fit the narrative, does it? In fact, Punisher co-creator Jerry Conway launched a number of Punisher-inspired Black Lives Matter symbols. Of course, she does note that a number of people have shown up to Black Lives Matter protests wearing Batman and Spider-Man outfits. Back to her grievances about superheroes. Her next problem is that they don't have accountability. The Punisher is representative of a larger problem in superhero narratives. When Batman ignores orders and goes rogue, there's no oversight committee to assess whether Bruce Wayne's biases influence who he brings to justice and how. We've not killed the Joker, well, unless the killing joke, but you know what? Heroes like Iron Man occasionally feel guilt about the casualties they inflict, but ultimately empower themselves again and again to draw these moral lines. She's such a pleb. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Most of the blockbuster Marvel and DC comic movies skirt the issue of who should define justice for whom. Of course. And then it goes further. What's more, given that the creators and stars of these movies have historically been white men, it's hardly surprising that so few reckon with issues of systemic racism. It's a superhero. It's a fucking superhero. Let alone sexism, homophobia, transphobia, and other forms of bigotry embedded in the justice system or the inherent biases these superheroes might carry with them as they patrol the streets of the universe. Did you not think that people might just want an escapism from this crap? Did you not think? Did you not think that when, you know, Superman is fighting Doomsday on Krypton or wherever, you know, in the Phantom Zone, he's really not going to be thinking about if Doomsday is raging on stuff because he's had homophobic slurs thrown at him? Like, what? That's not what people want to see. No one wants to see that. I kind of do now. It sounds like it'd be hilarious. But that's not what people want. More recently, racial injustices has become the centerpiece for some superhero films. The clearest example of that shift is Black Panther, Ryan Coogler's superhero movie that takes as its main subject the oppression of BIPOC people worldwide. Fucking BIPOC. Piss off. But the introduction of Miles Morales, who made his debut in the comics, could offer opportunities to explore the contentious relationship between New Yorkers and police. Of course! Let's just stoke more fuel on that fire, shall we? Let's put some more matches down. A Miles Morales video game will arrive, hopefully with a more nuanced take on the NYPD. Of course it is going to be now. Then the game that preceded it, with a Spider-Man who's a young man of colour in a city with a painful recent history of stop and frisk policies, disproportionately inflicting trauma on young black and brown men. It will be a striking oversight if it doesn't. It always amazes me. So we've got stop and search in the UK, but disproportionately represented in knife crime are black people. So they do get stopped and searched the most. Well, let's just stop carrying knives. And there's this amazing YouTube clip, it happened literally last week, of people harassing the police because they stopped, you know, a black guy and were searching him. They're like, "Why are you doing that?" And then they just pull out a knife, like, I kid you not, longer than my fucking head. And they're like, this is why. This is why. Did you want him to take that on the tube? Did you want him to stab someone up? Amazing. And then the cheek, the stupid cow sat there, well, screaming at the police, like, "You don't need to be rude." Wind your neck back in, you absolute tool. No, like, is that the hill you want to die on? That's the hill you want to die on. Harassing a policeman for doing his job, and then him actually proving that he was doing his job under just cause. That's the hill you want to die on, because he's now rude to you? Fuck off, you deserve a slap. Like, you really do. Anyway, next on our list is Alan Moore's Watchmen series. She praises the series for depicting superheroes as corrupt. She must love The Boys then, which I can't wait for, side note. In Alan Moore's 1986 graphic novel, vigilantes who believe they have the right to fight and live by their own moral codes often prove themselves despicable bigots or megalomaniacs. One particular image of so-called heroes confronting a riot looks an awful lot like the recent videos we've seen of police officers shooting rubber bullets and tear gas at protesters. Does it? I don't think it does, let's be honest. And then obviously she applauds Damon Lindelof's HBO Watchmen series despite having issues with the fact that Regina King's character is a police officer who tortures suspects. Dr. Mann writes, but as the mysteries unravel, it becomes clear that Watchmen's real intent is to revisit one of the most lauded stories in the comic book world and re-examine it from the perspective of historically excluded black characters. In doing so, the show reveals the connective tissue that links harm committed against black people from the Tulsa massacre to the racism that Angela deals with in the present day. Black heroes rise up to meet the darkest force, one that's ignored by most superhero stories. Racism. It doesn't need to be addressed by everything. Is that all you want? Like, the people just want tunnel vision. Like, I'm all for addressing stuff, but it doesn't have to be in everything. You've just highlighted things that have addressed it. I don't want to hear it 24/7, and I don't even think people who suffer from racism want to hear it 24/7, because they probably want some escapism. If Hollywood is to do better in telling these stories, more creators of colour need to be given the reins to tell them. Of course, writers must also shake the notion that they are bound by the structures of outdated intellectual property, which kind of are, because the intellectual property is owned by people. The success of Watchmen suggests that creators can snatch up those familiar characters and still weave a new story, with new politics and a new perspective, using only fragments of what came before. Of course, only when this creative freedom is encouraged and Hollywood offers more opportunities to BIPOC, of course, creators and white creators use their capital to support creators who are too often overlooked, will we get more superhero tales that adequately grapple with the complexity of justice in America? Because we have to tell it. We have to constantly address it, don't we? And this article, I love this article. It's quite obvious the Doctorman doesn't give two shits about superheroes and superhero stories. She only sees superheroes as a vehicle for her own political agenda, which makes abundantly clear. Yeah. Unfortunately, Doctorman's take isn't surprising or even all that novel. In fact, it's mainstream in Hollywood. Marvel Studios has heavily signalled that this is the type of storytelling they will do moving into MCU's Phase 4. Yeah. It's just the norm. What do you think? I saw this and I was like, God damn, that's it. Superheroes are now problematic because straight white men, I guess. Fuck. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. 3 weeks, guys. Well, 18 days, so yeah, kind of 3-ish weeks. Check it out. Thanks so much. Take care.